What's up, creepers and geekers? Chris, the Retro Creep. That made no musical sense whatsoever. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Let me apologize for being an hour late, but I had an appointment that I wanted to have, and the best we could do was 1:30 to 2. And it was an important meeting, so I didn't want to skip that. I figured we can just come on late here and just do whatever it is we're going to do today. Not really going to do much. Just sit and chat if anyone wants to speaky about anything. I got the kids home. I'm sure one of them's going to be fucking obnoxious because that's what they like to do. But I hope everyone enjoyed, if they haven't seen it yet, my upload from this morning for Phoenix on the Intellivision, which I still have. My console right here. Well, this is the controller to my fucking console. What?
Minecraft!
You're not doing it in the living room.
No, not in the living room.
Minecraft. She's gonna take the switcheroo.
Tell your fans I say hi.
She says hi.
I was gonna sing, but then I realized copyright.
You're gonna sing? No, you can sing. Just not the whole song. Groovy.
I hope your fans likes that.
I don't have fans.
No.
I have a few people that come and hang out. I wouldn't call them fans, though.
Friendship.
I would call them friendships, yes. Yes, fuck the word fans.
Ah, you're blind. See ya.
Unless, of course, they're blowing me. Hey, what's up, Violation? What's going on, buddy? Again, no agenda today. Just hanging out, chitter-chattering, just doing whatever. I had an appointment at 1:30 that caused me to be late, and I didn't want to miss this appointment, so I said, yeah, I'll do it. Let's hope this appointment bore fruit. It was work-related. Not really much to talk about today, aside from one of the obvious things that you can't avoid. Adam the Woo was found not alive in his home yesterday. What a fucking shock! I mean, it's always a shock when someone passes away. You could almost say it's less of a shock when they're an older celebrity, I suppose, or an older family member. But you're still never prepared for the fact that this person whom you may have interacted with today, or, whatever, just will no longer ever be around. Ever. They're just gone, Their physical shell might still be there for a little bit. But once they're gone, they're gone. And it's going to be weird not seeing that daily upload notification come up from Adam's channel, the Daily Woo. The second one. I was more of a fan of his original channel. And I kind of cherry-picked the Daily Woo stuff, especially the last few years, But 51 years old. I mean, his birthday's in August. So he's about 6 months older than I am. I will be 51 this coming March. So, we're about the same age. Ironically, both of our fathers were men of the cloth. Both ministers or preachers or whatever you want to call them. We just called my dad a minister. I don't even think he had a title that he cared about. Wasn't about that anyway, right? Him and I, grew up on the same things. He was a big fan of horror. He was a big fan of metal, thrash. We were both musicians and everything. And I kind of clung to his style of video because it was something I wanted to do before the YouTube thing even was a thing, And I don't mean as far as like documentation. when I was in high school, I thought I was going to get a nice hunk of change from a house sale. My grandmother passed away, and we kept our house that was on Cape Cod in Hyannis for a few years after she had passed. And my parents tried renting it, and that turned out to be a nightmare. And then they just decided to sell it. And I thought I was going to get a chunk of change from that. And my plans were to get a van. I actually had one picked out and everything. It was from a girlfriend's father. And I was going to throw a beanbag in the back and some camping gear. You know, things to stay warm when it got cold. A little Coleman stove. Nothing crazy. Nothing like what you see today with van living. It's not really van living. It's a mobile apartment is what it is. And I was just going to nomad and just like take pictures. And, you know, shit, we didn't even have cell phones with the cameras on it or anything. I'm talking like 94, 95, right? And I was just going to do that. With whatever chunk of change I had, and then just try to make money wherever I was, either selling things or, you know, doing whatever, finding little, because it wasn't hard to find little part-time jobs back then under the table, you know. Going to a restaurant, hey, do you need a cook for a couple of weeks? You know, fling some eggs around and just kind of do that, and then wherever the van died or whatever, if I got tired of traveling, just wherever that was, that's where I was. Oh, excuse me, I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. But yeah, it sucks. Violation, I'm sorry. I've seen you in there, but I that's why I put the glasses on to say hi to you. I am so sorry I've taken this long just to even announce your presence into the chat, dude. Thank you for coming in. I'm turning that up. I've been playing that song a lot lately. I hate to hear it. It's always because it's the good ones that leave us. And the rotten ones live for decades. And I know, and they'll be office. I can only imagine whom you're speaking about. I will not relate my feelings, but you are correct. You are correct. It always seems like the decent guys, right? It's tragic, but it you know what, it's necessary, and it teaches us stuff, you know. I don't know if you're religious or not, but excuse me. The way I look at the sorrows and pains of this world, people will sit there and talk about, well, how can a God do this and how can a God do that? And I'm thinking to myself, well, you're looking at earth time, so to speak, right? And if you were to have faith, if you were the type of person that believed in God and believed in heaven and hell and all that stuff, that would mean you believe in eternity. And when you look at eternity compared to whatever life you have here on the planet, in this case, he only had 51 years. That's, to quote Marley, a drop of water in a comprehensive ocean. Not of our business, but of our time here on this stupid little rock. And then wherever you go from there is eternity. And, we all suffer. We all have our traumas in life, and we all have our trespasses, as they say in the Lord's Prayer. I'm not trying to get religious with anybody, but these are my core values and all I can speak on. That, you know what, I may suffer on this earth, and maybe there's a reason for it, and it sucks. But if I end up past those pearly gates, the goal I mean, at the end of the day, these 60, 70, maybe 80 years I might have on this planet, I'm going to be nothing. You know, it's going to be nothing compared to eternity. So that's how I look at it. I know a lot of people, you know, more commonly the atheists would sit there and say, well, no, this is it. This is all we got, so you got to make the best of it. And I do. I make the best of what I can, but I don't let the pain and the sorrow and the physical hurt and all that stuff. Truly, I mean, I have my moments, of course I do, but I don't let it linger. Only because I know at the end of the day that this is all temporary. This is all this bullshit. This cup of coffee, these ornaments, which I'll probably open here in front of you. It's all temporary. And when you look at it that way, and you have a goal in mind as far as where you plan on being after this world, you know, heaven or whatever, it doesn't seem as scary. It's still frustrating that you have to go through it, but there's a lot more to it than just this, as far as I'm concerned, you know. Wouldn't make any sense otherwise to me, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't believe that all of this happened by accident. I don't believe that an explosion somehow created everything, you know. And I know, according to science, it happened over time, but there's also scientific proof of the opposite, you know. And when you start looking at science and stuff like that, you got to look at who's being paid to do the science. And I won't get into theological things on here, but not all atheists discount eternity or afterlife. Even science doesn't do that. That's true. Energy can't be destroyed, nor can it be created. You're 100% correct. You're 100% correct. Are you an atheist? Because if you are, I didn't mean any disrespect, honestly. I didn't mean any disrespect, even a little bit. I know sometimes I do. Sometimes I purposefully be disrespectful. But that's, again, in fun and in topic to other things. But you're right. You're 100% right, you know. But there are also people who believe that this is it. And once you're out, you're gone, you know. Once the lights are out, it's darkness forever. Darkness imprisoning me. So, my lady came to me with a box yesterday. Not her box. Well, we won't go there. And she had the smile on her face. And she's like, yeah, this is for you. And I'm like, more stuff for me? All right. And I going back to a live stream we had, I think, last week about the whole things coming in and not enough going out. Lately, it's been like that. But she knew I really wanted this for the tree. And I was actually going to look afterwards. Oh, excuse me. But she brought me 2 Hallmark ornaments. One of them is of Monsieur Voorhees here. And we'll open it up here. We'll open it up and have a look. And then I have Frederick Krieger. The gloved man of your dreams from A Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't know why he picked Elm. Oak seems to be a creepier street than that. What's up, kid?
Scissors.
What? Scissors? What are you cutting?
I've opened up a package.
She's trying to stab me.
Wow.
Ow.
Sorry.
These pickups do not deserve to sound that good. They don't. Not for the price that was paid for it. In my religion, the universe is made of triangles and textures. Okay. Fair enough. You're a polygon kind of guy. Are you the lawnmower man? Again, no disrespect. I'm just trying to be silly. But yeah, we got a couple of these ornaments here. Hallmark. I thought they were going to be a little bit bigger, is what she said. But they're really not all that sizable. I honestly thought they were going to be like closer to 5 inches tall, but let's open them. Let's open one. I got to hang them up anyway here. So I was going to do a whole video, but I decided because I was able to get Phoenix to work. If you haven't seen that yet, I did a video this morning playing Phoenix on my television. Still right here, all set up, ready to go. I just don't have a convenient way to stream it where you'll be able to see it in reasonably good time. You know what I mean? But that stupid webcam I have doesn't like motion, and I think it would be just too obnoxious to do it that way. But regardless, once I get my Sprint, we'll be rocking and rolling. But I won a game pack from Electronite via the Intelligent Gamer. He had a really good stream on Sunday. I think it was Sunday, yeah. With that Ben dude from Atari talking about, I guess there's some update or something. I don't know. I'm fucking stupid when it comes to the software side of all this crap. But I sat there and watched it, and I did learn. I took a whole bunch of notes because I will be getting one soon enough. And I want to know. And I want to take the notes and get everything ready to rock and roll when I get it. But I won instead of one of the consoles that were being given away. And they gave away 3 of them. It was originally going to be 2. But they threw out 3 of them. I got one of the ROM packs for the Sprint. And unfortunately, and I knew it was probably going to be the case, that there wasn't going to be a bin file in there for... I have this thing. Let me pull it out. Oh my God. It's in there. I got this bad, Larry. And it's wonderful. We'll just say that. But it's very particular. It's very particular as far as to what kind of files it wants to use. It has to be a bin file with a CG something or other, attached to it. So I reached out to the guy who emailed me the link. I'm going to assume the guy who runs the company that sold the games. A dude named William, I believe. Really nice guy. And I said, hey, I was just curious. And he said, it should work with that. I'm like, well, no, only bin files do. And I tried to do the best I could to configure what was in the pack. And I said, don't even worry about it. I didn't expect it to. I just only reached out because I wanted to know if you knew a trick. But I can absolutely wait until I have my Sprint. I'm not trying to be pushy or anything. And this morning I woke up to an email from him saying, hey, first of all, hit me up on Facebook. And secondly, here's the bin files. And I'll be sure to add that to the ROM packs from now on. So I hope I helped with something at the very least. I try not to be a pain in the ass. I got the game for free. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I can't play it, when I know it was probably not going to work on that particular cartridge. But they made it happen. And I'm really fucking excited because I've been wanting to play that and Buck Rogers. I'll be getting Buck Rogers as soon as I get my Sprint. And I can't wait. I can't wait to hook it up to this so we can play in television games as convenient as I can anything else. It's going to be so fucking rad because my television content has gone super down since I can't use the other room because of temperatures and stuff. But I'll get to your question here in a minute, Violation. But here's Freddy. The detail is okay, I suppose. I'm going to say this. It's probably better than Jason's. The mask is appalling. But the glove even has a little bit of detail to it. Pretty cool stuff. I did not expect the Freddy. In fact, I didn't even realize there was one. I just knew that there was a Friday the 13th Jason Voorhees one. But that's what he's going to look like hanging on the tree. Whee! He's going to spin. All right. Let me get to the question, then we'll open up Jason Voorhees. See, I got a question creep.
Scissors.
All right. If someone were to hit you up with a microphone, materials, and a beefy compression for your time, would you ever consider doing voice acting for games or animation or anything like that? Yeah. It's funny. Somebody told me once I had a radio voice. So I'm like, no, I don't. I slur a lot, and of course, I don't have front teeth, But there are some voices I can do here and there that people have asked me to. I think even Tommy once was talking about how he knew people who get people started in voice acting and all that stuff. But I wouldn't even know how to go about doing any of that stuff. But If someone were to hit you up with microphone materials and a beefy compression for your time. Beefy compensation. Sorry. Getting used to the new glasses, the screen's covered in gook that I can't scrape off because it'll just break the screen. It's resin. It's resin. As a matter of fact, the blob that's over where the chat is now, it happened while I was making my thumb buddies. I knocked something over and it splashed all over. I had to scrape it off of this. It got into my numeric keypad, so I had to open up the laptop, and it was a fucking mess. So I've learned to push the laptop back while I'm listening to stuff instead of it being this close where I'm kind of just doing my thing, you know. But I don't know if I would accept it. I suppose I would have to learn how to use the equipment. And I don't know what beefy compensation means. But yeah, I suppose I would. I don't know how well I would do, especially with something that's scripted. I guess I could learn like line by line and then just do it a bunch of takes until I figure out something that sounded good. And then just, I don't know. I don't even know how I would do that, but I'm going to say 50-50. Of course I would. But interesting question. That took me by surprise. I have no idea. I guess, yeah. I like beefy compensation. But here's the Friday the 13th one. Monsieur Voorhees. I'm really excited for the TV show Crystal Lake. That's going to be on Peacock. But the other entity, the Jason universe, kind of seems to be going away, which is angering me. Because that Angry Orchard little thing that they had out, Sweet Revenge, was awesome. And it was the right direction. And people were like, okay, here's a new look for Jason that Greg Nicotero came up with. And you have to excuse me. I don't know why I got like indigestion right now. I haven't really eaten anything. I mean, I had breakfast, but I'm running around like an idiot doing, well, nothing really. But, yeah, this mask needs a little bit of love. It needs some red. It's weird. One of his eyes it's one of those things, I'll show them to you. But when you turn the head, his right eye looks like it's following you, whereas the other one just looks blank and dead. But they're both eyeballs. It's not one goofy one like you would normally see. And the outfit is pretty damn close to part 3/4, Jason. There are just no marks on the mask itself as far as chevrons are concerned. But the mask itself is dirty. I might go in there. I have these giant eyeballs right here, where I could probably go in there with like a 1 or 2 hair brush and complete the look of the fucking dude. But there he is. Jason with his green shirt, his gray pants. Yeah, this had to have been done after Richard Brooker, because it's got the hump on the back. Sorry, I keep forgetting where the camera is. There's a fucking light blinking right next to it. I forget where the camera is. But he's got the back hump. And, you know, the mask without the cut in it and all that shit. So I am going to assume that this is based off of part 3, Jason. Somebody at Hallmark was like, yeah, if I'm going to sculpt Jason, that's what I'm going to sculpt. Because the hump on the back is very, very telltale, so to speak, of Richard Brooker's Jason from part 3, my favorite. Not the best movie in the series, but my favorite. Well, there you go. These are my 2 new ornaments that we're going to be putting on the tree here as soon as I'm done with my stream. There we go. We got Freddy and Jason. Jason looks like he's ready for work. Freddy just likes posing. Freddy's a fucking poser. I don't know if you guys know this, but I have a... I've wanted a Freddy sweater my whole life. And, well, my whole life. Well, the part of my life where Freddy Krueger existed. And it's fucking... I asked my grandmother years ago, and I still have the letter I wrote to her. along with a couple of pictures of what showed up. And it was a running gag for the longest time. My grandmother just knitted and knitted and knitted and knitted. It came down to my knees. I had to tuck in a fucking sweater. And the arms were, it was ridiculous. It was fucking ridiculous. I don't remember where it ended up. I can't imagine it probably went to a chick to be as like a sweater dress. Because those were popular at the time. But I never did get my Freddy sweater. Ugh. Yeah, I didn't want to buy one of those cheap Spirit Halloween ones. So I asked my lady who knits. And she's like, there's a superstition that if you knit your boyfriend a sweater, you guys are going to break up. And I came up with the idea of a hoodie. Can you knit me a hoodie? Because I saw this granny square crocheted hoodie. I just thought it was the coolest looking fucking thing on the planet. And I'm like, what if you knitted me a hoodie? Could you do that? And she's like, get me the pattern. So I had ChatGPT, or Gemini more importantly, come up with a pattern and show me a picture of, I think we had to have talked about this, but she's almost done with the back. She's been fucking banging it out. I wish I had it here. She has it at work, unfortunately. I can't show you how far along we are. If you follow me on TikTok under Milieu Macabre, I have a playlist called that if you need the spelling, but it's the common spelling for those two words. Milieu, M-I-L-I-E-U, Macabre, M-A-C-A-B-R-E. Some people like to say macabre, macabre, but that's not the case. That's not the case, but I'm pretty excited. I'd say by February I should have it, and it's going to be awesome. Let's see, just riff into the mic and have fun. Well, I would need a script, right? I need to get a Jason mask one day. There were plenty of people who sell the blanks, and you can make your own. I'll go get one that I've done. It's actually on the Christmas tree right now. I wonder what the total official Jason mask variations, like 20 at least. Let's see. For part 3, there were 2 different ones. Part 4, there was just the one. Part 5 had like 3 or 4, because that was the one where you had the blue chevrons. Then you also had the flashback Jason, and then you had hallucination Jason. And there were 3 different masks there. Part 6 had 1 mask. 7, 1 mask. 8, 1 mask. And these are all different masks. So yeah, I'm not even counting. At least for every movie, there was a different mask, starting from part 3, obviously, because part 1 and 2 didn't have a hockey mask. A lot of people don't realize that. They're like, if you remember correctly, I got a T-shirt that had a cartoon version of a hockey mask, and it said "masked since 1980." And I'm not the type to say, actually. But I messaged him and said, no, 82. And then the guy came back all smug. Nope, I just checked it. Friday the 13th came out in 1980. I said, you're correct. But the hockey mask wasn't introduced until the 3rd movie, 1980 fucking 2. And then he came back with, touche, you are worthy. I will send you a shirt for free. And I have fixed it. They never really went anywhere, but I got a free shirt. But what the total official Jason mask variations are. You know what? I might look into that. I might actually look into that. I saw Jay from the Game Chasers has a blue Jason Cubs mask. Right on with the C on the forehead. That's awesome. That's really popular right now. First of all, for the past handful of years, there's a guy named Big Hush who's done themed masks for years. And now that the Jason Universe and Horror Inc. are doing their thing, they're 2 separate entities. One of them's a Victor Miller thing, who wrote the original story. That's where the lawsuit came in. And then you have the Sean Cunningham, who produced most of them, but directed the first one. They went off and did their own thing. And I think Sean Cunningham is Horror Inc., and Victor Miller went off to do the Jason Universe. And I wish they would both, I want them both to happen. I want Jason Universe. I want all that cartoony shit. But I also want the TV show and the movie, and I can't wait. There's a lot of really exciting things happening for the Friday the 13th fans out there. But a Jason mask isn't really all that difficult, honestly. Let me go grab mine. It's on the tree. Hold on. I used to have it right here, but since I moved things around, Friday the fucking 13th, Jason motherfucking Voorhees, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is my part 3 mask that I did. It was a, oh wow, it looks wicked white. It is not that white, I promise you. I made this from a clear blank. As a matter of fact, during COVID, I made a mask cover. It wasn't the actual like respiratory thing that you could wear, but it was something cool to put over it. And we did that here on the channel with the same blank. I just ended up buying 2 of them. I got all the details. This isn't screen accurate to part 3, but it's pretty damn close. Pretty damn close with the scrapes and the little details like this guy right here and the way the nose is worn. And the secret to all that is get a clear mask and use a white primer on the inside and out. And then use your base color. And then as you wipe it away, because underneath has the white, it'll come across like the paint's coming off of a white blank. If you do it with a white mask, you can get away with it, but it just seems to look better when you use the mask. And when you're scraping away like stuff like right in here, it just seems to work a lot better. But it's really not that difficult. I'd say go get yourself a blank and play around with it. And the chevrons, if you don't want to paint the chevrons, you can get them. That's actually what these are. What's up? What? Oh, she's just jumping up and down.
Am I allowed to swear?
No. Fucko.
No, I meant am I allowed to swear?
Why would you want to swear? She's 17, by the way. If she's going to swear, she's going to swear.
I didn't know you were going to get demonetized.
Just say what you got to say.
Random bullshit, go! Bam!
Random bullshit, go. That's my channel in a heartbeat. Oh, I'm having a conversation. Fuck off. She's touching me. I fear physical touch. Go ahead, put that on. I'm sweating like a pig.
You know who also sweats a lot?
I don't know. Who?
The guy that I like.
Oh, here we go.
Because every time we're in science class, he'll take off his gloves and they're like super sweaty for no reason.
That's awesome. All right, let me engage with the people who are in here right now, okay?
I just like bothering you.
I know you do. And that's why I have to redirect you. You fuck. She's very highly intelligent. We just got her actual numbers back, and they're fucking up there. Holy God, like scary up there. But socially, she's awkward as fuck. So she'll come over here and she'll act the fool, but it's an anxious thing. She's such a great kid. And she's gonna do very well in life. But she has a lot of hang-ups as far as anxieties are concerned. But the point is, what I'm trying to say is, there are plenty of blanks. You know who you need to look into? Look into Chris. No, not Chris Stuckman. What is his name? He's over there. Cosplay Chris. You know, that guy. He would know where they're in Australia. He's an Australian guy. Where you could get a blank or even just one that's already done. But I say give it a whirl. Give it a shot, man. He's like, I'm not going to correct it like a fucking loser would, but... God, this guitar sounds so good. Fuck yeah. But Jason lives, man. Jason's awesome. I got some fun facts about Jason Voorhees. Fun fact number 1. Jason Voorhees almost paid my phone bill once. Almost paid my fucking phone bill. True story. 2004, we've talked about this convention quite a bit throughout the years. I was part of an organization called horrorfind/horrorseek.com. Either one of those would have brought you there. And I used his website as space to build websites. That's how it originally started. But it was also a database of haunted attractions. And then he reached out into other things and decided to have a convention in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I was so excited because I'd never been to a convention, and to this day I've never been to another one. But everybody was there. Like all the Day of the Dead guys were there. Reggie from fucking Phantasm was there. Ari Lehman, the guy who played the little Jason that came out of the water in part 1, he was there. As a matter of fact, he was playing piano, and Reggie was playing guitar, and there was another guitar in there. So I actually got to jam with Reggie from Phantasm and Ari Lehman, the first Jason, you know? And in relation to this little QR code right here, Reggie is, he's dying. He has Alzheimer's. And he's probably not going to be with us much longer, if at all, you know? So Bruce Willis recently was put into a home that specializes in memory diseases because of Alzheimer's. Gene Hackman had Alzheimer's. But going back to the convention, I lived out in this area called Rainbow Trail. 20621 West Rainbow Trail. Don't harass them. But if you wish to do a Google search of it, you will see that, well, probably not so much now, but when I lived there were acres of nothing. Acres of nothing. And it was a dirt road. And let's put it this way. When I first moved out there, I called the local law enforcement saying, hey, where around here can I, practice with my weapons? And I was expecting them to give me an address to like a range. And they said, well, you're out in Rainbow Trail. I said, yeah. And they said, well, what's in your backyard? I was like, well, nothing. She said, is there a mountain range behind you? I said, yeah. She said, as long as you're aiming at that and there's no homes or anything. I'm like, you're shitting me. And she's like, no. You're in the middle of nowhere, kid. Enjoy. That's how out of the way I was. And whenever we would get a windstorm, or a haboob as they called them, a sandstorm, before a monsoon, we would always lose power and or phone. And I had actually booked C.J. Graham, who played Jason in the greatest of all Jason movies, Jason Lives, Part 6. I booked him to be at that convention because I was talking to him. It was in the early 2000s. It was 2004, October. But it wasn't uncommon for these guys to just hang out with you in a chat room, because it wasn't as big yet. The love for the 80s slasher thing hadn't really completely built up again yet. And it was still kind of in one of those, oh, who are they again? Except for the few of us who were really into it. But I had been talking with C.J. Graham back and forth for a little while, asking questions about this, that, and the other, and, his experience as Jason and all this stuff. And I said to him, I said, hey, would you like to, if I could talk to the dude who runs the thing, would you like to, come to the convention? He's like, yeah, absolutely. So I made sure it happened. But the day he got into town, he went to call us to see if we wanted to have supper with him the day before the convention. And unfortunately, because of the windstorm, our phones were down and our electricity. So I got to the convention on Halloween Day, and he pulled me aside. He gave me a couple of free autographs and gave my daughter a couple of really cool things, and we had a few pictures. But we just sat there and chatted, just in general. And he pulled me aside and he's like, "Hey, do you need any money for like your phone or anything like that?" I'm like, "No, why?" He goes, "Well, I tried to call you this morning," and I laughed. And I tried to explain to him. I tried to explain to him what happens out there, and he at first he didn't believe me, and he kept pulling out the wallet. And I'm like, CJ, seriously, it'll be back up in a couple of days. Don't worry about it. I'm not really all too concerned. And he was like, okay. So Jason Voorhees himself tried to pay one of my phone bills. Man, where I live, there is no conventions and no Captain Rhodes to get drunk and party with. Oh my God, was he fucking loaded. He kept grabbing the microphone and just saying the dumbest shit. And he was wearing, okay, there's a version of the Day of the Dead DVD. It's a yellow box with the zombie's head is kind of like the outline. You open it up and it opens in 3 ways. There's a behind the scenes thing in there. And he's wearing this weird red and black shirt. It almost looks like a bowling shirt, but it's not quite a bowling shirt. That was actually filmed then and there. You know, they pulled a few of the guys in the back for like an hour at a piece. Because Howard Sherman, who played Bub, was there. Rhodes was there. There was a couple of guys from Day of the Dead there. And it was fun. I had a lot of fun. Nobody showed up because there was no advertising. Nobody showed up. So all these people were there. I mean, there was tons. Dee Wallace was fucking there. The chick who was in, there was a movie called May that had come out recently. She was there. She also played Carrie in the, not the theatrical remake of Carrie, but the one that was straight to the Sci-Fi Channel. She was there. She was in a bad fucking mood. But there was just all these people there. And I'm like, there's nobody here to see these fucking people. They're not going to make any money. And they were all miserable. But a lot of them were, they just made the best of it. They had a good time. Tim Sullivan, the guy who did the Necronomicon, was there. As a matter of fact, he had the place locked down because he said one of the pages were missing. And it turned out that I met one of my YouTube heroes before they were YouTube heroes. Mike Scalaska from Red Letter Media. I remember a dude with a camera coming up to me saying, "What's with all the cops?" And I said to him, somebody walked off with one of the pages of the Necronomicon, I guess. And he's like, hold on, because he had taken a whole bunch of pictures. And he's the one who actually discovered that it ended up underneath the book. And after all that, the cops are, locking the place down and all this big to-do. Tim Sullivan's finally like, oh, wow. Sorry, it was underneath. And he drew something real quick for Mike. But I didn't know who he was. And then he told the other side of the story. I'm like, motherfucker, I did meet this kid. But, yeah, Jason Voorhees tried to pay my phone bill. Jason Voorhees also tried to murder me, too. Tried to murder me. And not him. Let me see if I can find this picture. I was making a Freddy vs. Jason outfit. And I had the mask and everything. And one of the things I needed was a cowl. So I bought a cowl from someone. In fact, I think I traded for it. What folder would that picture be in? I'm going to say it's in my Facebook photos because I downloaded it from there probably. But long story short, it's like a latex mask, but it's just for, basically giving you the idea. And what you do is you cut the hole in the face, and I opted not to have it pre-cut so that I could put it perfectly to my, my needs. But as a fucking joke, here's the picture. It's not a good picture, but that was my Freddy vs. Jason outfit. Handmade jacket, and I had the 2 different layered shirts, the gray sweatshirt and the blue one underneath, and the boots. And the mask was actually a fiberglass mask from some guy who called himself Horror Hockey Masks back in the day. And I put the cowl on before I cut the hole, like an idiot. And then all of a sudden, it was a vacuum. It just sucked right to my face, almost like a vacuum form thing. And I could not get it off. So I am reaching around for anything sharp. And my lady had no idea what I was looking for because I couldn't speak it out. And I'm fucking dying over here. So I just went, and she realized, razor? I'm like, yes. So she got me a razor, and I cut a tiny little hole, and the whole thing just went, and I was like, oh my God, that was fucking stupid. So then what I do is I took a pair of scissors and cut like an X all the way up to about here, and left it at my mouth, And that's how I knew. I mean, it ended up working out that I knew exactly where to cut. I was going to do it with a chalk, or I should say, I got these China markers that, they're basically like a white wax marker that I used to use these for pinstriping too. You lay the general grid down and the idea of your lines, and then you come back in with the paint. But so yeah, Jason Voorhees almost killed me once. Yeah, that's too bad that you guys don't have many things out there. Although my social anxieties won't let me do a lot of conventions. That's why you never see me going to like PAX East or anything like that. There was a time where I was part of this one crew, the Cartridge Clubs, which is still going on, but it's not the same people anymore. It's been passed off. But they would all get together at maybe the Midwest one that comes around. Sorry, I don't know why I just got a little Pink Floyd-y there for a minute. But, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Pretty cool stuff, man. I've lived, man. I've done the things, but Jason Voorhees, the ornament, the Hallmark official ornament. Actually, what is the licensing on this? Is it the universe? Characters and elements, New Line Cinema. So it's definitely not. It is definitely not Horror Inc., which I believe is dealing with Paramount still. I don't know. I honestly don't know who the fuck owns what anymore. But this just keeps saying Friday the 13th and all related characters and elements. Copyright New Line Cinemas, New Line Productions Inc. But it also has a Warner Brothers trademark. So I don't know. It doesn't say anything in here about Jason Universe. So I'm going to assume that the Horror Inc. guys are getting the money for this. It is an official product. I mean, it's from Hallmark and it's labeled Friday the 13th. So I would have thought that would have been, because the way it used to be is New Line Cinema bought the rights to the character Jason Voorhees. And you'll notice after Jason Takes Manhattan, it's no longer Friday the 13th part whatever and then a title, It's Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, Freddy versus Jason. Friday the 13th isn't noted anywhere in there. Because I believe Paramount Pictures still had the rights to the title Friday the 13th, whereas New Line bought the rights to the character Jason Voorhees. So it's fucking stupid. I don't understand. So many of these great franchises end up in these weird legal name battles. Like, don't even get me started with Terminator. The Terminator series was sold for $1, and I don't even remember what the circumstances were, but it was to his now ex-wife, James Cameron's ex-wife. I don't know, but I'm not a fucking lawyer, nor do I care to. That was a very poor rendition of fucking Jimi Hendrix there. But I'm gonna go put these on the tree. I'm gonna put this back on the tree. Look up Cosplay Chris. I'm sure you know who he is, dude. I'm sure you know who he is. But look him up and be like, hey, fellow Australian, where's a good place to get things here in our country that are Jason Voorhees related or anything like that? I would offer to do one for you if you bought the mask and had it shipped to me. But I just don't know if it would be worth it to ship it out to you. It's my understanding shipping something to Australia is big money, and you guys have a lot of fucking rules. Like, whenever he gets a Freddy glove, it has to come in pieces. And he has to finish putting it together himself. But it is well. The Jason mask first, next step, an AT-AT. Are you talking about the actual vehicle or a helmet? At that driver helmet. I actually had one of those printed up, and I ended up selling it. I ended up not wanting to finish it. But ironically, though, I found all the accessories for it and the decals I bought for it. But shipping is so 2000s. I guess I'll just email the finished product to you, and you'll just reach into your phone and pull it out. Good God, y'all. I wish I still had a tube amp. This thing probably sounds great with tubes fucking compressing and a dry pedal in front of it, just making them tubes getting hotter and hotter, but keeping it right there at that edge of breakup. All right, my dudes, I am going to let you go. It's been about an hour. Again, I apologize for coming on late. But this was one of those appointments where I didn't want to miss it, you know, and that's all they had was a 1:30 appointment. So I made sure it wasn't very long, and came on at 2 o'clock. And here we are now. Excuse me. Fuck, I did not sleep at all last night. My fucking hip was killing me, and it's because we're going to get some snow today. We're going to get some wet weather. And I knew that was coming because my fucking hip barometer said so. So let's see, how many people are in here? It says 6 people are in here. Holy shit. It says 7, but one of them is my alt account. So whoever's in here, thanks for hanging out with me. Hey, I don't know if you're watching Alex Valentine, but I was unable to find one of my 6-pole 3-way switches, my on-off on. So I ordered some last night from Amazon. I should have it here by Christmas Eve. And we will get the purple Esquire ready to rock and roll with the Seymour Duncan P rail. So I'm actually going to drill the hole for it in about 10 minutes. Maybe not. Maybe I'll save it for a video for the other channel. But either way, guys, thank you for hanging out with me this afternoon. Again, though it was late, I do apologize. So now what I'm going to do is I have Phoenix on here. There's a little TV right behind you, the one that you saw this morning in my video. I got my altered controller with my thumb buddy. And I'm going to play some fucking Phoenix now. And when I have my Sprint, I will share that experience with you guys because I'll be able to hook it up to this computer with my little doohickey that I have. So guys, wherever in the world you are, I hope you're doing well. I don't know how serious you were about the voiceover stuff. You got my mind thinking now. Not even the compensation part, but it keeps getting brought up, so I'm wondering if it's something that's supposed to be. I'm wondering if the universe is trying to steer me somewhere. But there are plenty of places to reach out to me outside of just here. I mean, my email should be listed down below. It's just Christopher_call, like telephone, at ymail.com. Yes, Y, not Gmail. Yahoo was trying to do the whole Gmail thing, and it didn't work out. Me and like one other person have Y mails. And it always gets fucked up. But I'm going to enjoy some Phoenix on the television. Great game. Hard as ball, so fucking wicked hard. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your afternoon. We will be back tomorrow, roughly about 1 o'clock, if all goes well. I do have another appointment tomorrow. I just don't know what time it's at. I think it's later. I think it's like at 3 o'clock, but either way, guys, I hope wherever in the world you are doing well. I'm going to go prep now for the snowstorm, too. I got to put some salt down, I just realized. Guys, thank you. I can't say that enough. I can't say enough. Whether I'm late or on time or whatever, don't forget to go check out the Intellivision Gamer. He's the whole reason why I have Phoenix. I won it on one of his streams this past weekend on Sunday. And that's it. Guys, wherever in the world you are, I hope you're doing well. And until next time, take care. Creep it real. I almost forgot how to say goodbye. I do this all the time, right? All right, guys. And bye-bye.